All right, good evening. This is the February 19th, 2015 meeting of the Fire and Police Commission. Present are Commissioners DeBogus, Cabrera, Wilson, O'Hara, and Morgan. Representing the Fire Department is Chief Mark Rolfing, and representing the Police Department is Chief Edward Flynn and Val Williams. Also, I want to introduce Miriam Horowitz and Lakeisha Butler from the City Attorney's Office, who will be providing counsel to the Commission. Thank you. All right, I have the following announcements to make. And this is regarding the scheduling of the appeal of Christopher Manning. The Board of Fire and Police Commissioners believes that it is in the interest of essentially everyone in our community, including Appellant Christopher Manning, Chief of Police Edward Flynn, members of the Milwaukee Police Department, and members of the general public, that this matter be heard and decided as expeditiously as this can be accomplished, in accordance with the Commission rules and Wisconsin law. Necessary pretrial preparation is ongoing, and the matter is moving forward under the guidance of an attorney who is familiar with the process. Efforts are also underway to identify an appropriate venue and retain an independent hearing examiner to assist in conducting the proceedings. The Board of Fire and Police Commissioners stands ready to hear and decide this case as soon as remaining issues can be resolved. A 2 to 3 day hearing is anticipated, with dates being between March 19th and March 27th under consideration. We will announce firm dates and a location to the parties, local media, and members of the public as soon as this information can be determined. All right, and we will now proceed with the agenda. And our first item is the minutes of the meeting from February 5th, 2015, and that needs approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And our next piece of business, of unfinished business about the 2013 use of force report. That report has been posted on the Commission website. We want to give people in the public and the Commissioners time to review the use of force report. And we will ask Professor Brandel to come back to a Commission meeting at a later date. And there will be a way for people, am I right, to submit questions on the website if people from the public have questions that they would like addressed, and we will be inviting Professor Brandel back to a future meeting yet to be announced to answer questions about that use of force report. All right, and then next we have another item of new business, and this is a presentation for information only. The ACLU is presenting to us the ACLU Police Interaction Survey. Mr. Almody.
Good evening, Commissioners and members of the public here tonight and watching on TV 25. I'm Chris Amity. I'm the Executive Director of the ACLU of Wisconsin. And as you know, the ACLU has been interested in police matters for a long time. And I'm glad that we got an invitation to present regarding our citizen police survey this evening. I think the fact that the Commission is open to hearing from multiple sources, from different stakeholders on these matters, is important and it's an indication of your willingness to assert your oversight function and listen to people from all sides of issues. So there are lots of surveys out there. Gallup and the Pew Center for Research have been doing surveys about public attitudes regarding law enforcement for a long time. In 2013, the New York Civil Liberties Union did a survey of police community relations and attitudes. And as you can imagine, after the killings of Michael Brown and Eric Gardner, a lot more surveys have come out since mid-2004. Some of them have been really to generate a news story, some of them have been more thoughtful. I'd like to credit the commission for getting ahead of the curve, really, and engaging Professor Sarah from UWM and the Center for Urban Initiatives to do your own survey of police. But the way you put it, when Alderman Murphy and Alderman Hamilton sponsored the resolution back in 2013, was a customer service improvement survey, and which suggests that there's room for improvement, but if you want to call it a police satisfaction survey, that's fine with me. So the ACLU, in part because we had the model from New York, the 2013 NYCLU survey, but also just because of the long interest that we have in these matters and the amount of information that we try to use in our decision-making, decided that it wouldn't be a bad idea for us to do a survey of police community relations as well. And we wanted to do it sort of in a way that would answer questions about that would be relevant to the discussion, but also given the fact that the ACLU of Wisconsin is a very strong youth program, very good connections with youth-serving agencies in the community, we knew that our survey was going to be particularly focused on young people, and that's the way it happened. Here you see a couple students from Rufus King who were among the young people filling out the survey. We ultimately got more than 800 surveys, and because we were dealing with young people, we also wanted to use the survey, frankly, not just to get information about police community relations, but to give the young people an opportunity to think about the impact of civil liberties on their lives. And so we wanted to engage them in something that we felt they knew about. And we had lots of partners, youth-serving agencies that helped us distribute this survey, and the list of them is up here. We had 804 completed surveys come into us by middle of last month, and we're the first ones to recognize that this is not a scientific survey. We've got a higher focus on young people under 24 and people of color. But also we think that it can tell us something and suggest avenues of research. And so let's take a look at where the surveys came from. We'll look at this map and the ones that are highlighted in orange. Most responses came from those 6 zip codes. And first, to try to understand the environment that the respondents live in, we want to take a little look at the kinds of police encounters that they have, that they reported on. Obviously, in Milwaukee, there's many different types of police encounters. Some are really social contacts that really aren't recorded. Some might be a presentation at school, for all we know. I doubt that anybody recorded that as a police stop, which is what we were really trying to get at in our survey instrument, which is online, has been made available when you look at the encounters, the thing that's most striking is the high level of encounters. You know, in 2013, when you combine calls for service and officer-initiated stops, it's over 500,000. The number of officer-initiated stops, over 243,000. So that's a lot of stops in a city with a population less than 600,000. Certainly there are people that are stopped more than once, but you know, a significant part of the population has been stopped. So we wanted to get feedback from the respondents to our survey about how they felt about those stops. And we found that in communities where police contact was the greatest, respondents had lower opinions of the police, were less likely to contact them if they saw a crime, and felt more often the police were abusive of their authority. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, there are lots of different reports, including the one that you commissioned from UWM. And it's interesting that in many respects, our survey matches the results found in other surveys, even though the questions may have been somewhat different and the samples are somewhat different. One of the most interesting is the fact that the UWM survey suggests, and our survey more strongly suggests, that the more contact there is, the more likely you are to have larger percentages of citizens, of people who feel less comfortable with the interactions with police. So here there you'll see the page from the UWM survey, and direct your attention particularly to the fourth column from the left, where the people that have less satisfaction, not very satisfied, not satisfied at all, jumps up to a very large number. As I said, we don't necessarily have the same questions in the UWM survey. They don't ask about stops, period. But you look at our survey, and here, once again, if you look at the numbers of people who were stopped and not stopped, and then to graph here, you'll see the purple are people who were not stopped, the blue are people who have been stopped by the police. And the fact that the mostly negative are so high, I think that is in large part due to the fact that people have been, not in large part, but in significant respect, due to the number of stops. So what happens when you have all these stops contributing to dissatisfaction? One thing that we found is that, the whole point of community-oriented policing is to have relationships with the community where they partner with the police to help prevent crime, solve crime, and have general improvement in the quality of life and lessen disorder. But with the situation that our respondents are telling us about, if you look at the graph, you'll see that there are significant numbers of people who never or almost never voluntarily help with a police investigation. Perhaps there's some sort of worry about being considered a snitch or whatever, but I think it also is a result of the sort of context that people have ongoing with the police department. And for people that are concerned about public safety, this really is quite concerning that people are not willing, such large numbers of people are not going to voluntarily help with investigations. We've often heard that, yes, there are more stops, but look, the number of citizen complaints filed with the department or with the Fire and Police Commission has gone down. And that's true, but we've always wondered, well, why is that? And until this survey, I could speculate that one reason was that people didn't think it made any difference or wasn't worthwhile to file such a complaint. The results of the survey indicate pretty strongly that almost 2/3 of the respondents felt that it didn't help to file a complaint, it didn't matter. So it's a little, the viability, the integrity of your complaint process is a somewhat different matter than the huge numbers of stops, but I think that they're related and they're something that you need to be addressing in cooperation with the department and others. As I said, this is suggestive in a lot of cases. You can't say, oh, there's a causal relationship between this and that. But there's a number of things that struck me in the survey responses. And one of them was what's reflected here in this slide. And that's how many times have you, a respondent, witnessed someone being handcuffed or arrested? And what strikes me here is, and remember this is concentrated in those zip codes, is the huge numbers of people who have witnessed someone being handcuffed or arrested more than 9 times. Remember that these are young people, mostly under 24. So what's it like in the neighborhoods when you see that level of police involvement? I'm not saying the police should leave the neighborhood. I'm not saying that the people who have witnessed the crimes are in favor of the arrests or not in favor of the arrests. There's lots of different factors going on here. But the fact that you have this level of activity seems to me to be a good research question that maybe the OHERE subcommittee or somebody could start looking into, among other things. And so, there's some next steps that we'd like to suggest, and hopefully that your subcommittee and others can be part of that dialogue, and we can help work with the community to do that, because the community really deserves to get some answers and some information. So next steps, undermine confidence in the police and people in communities that feel unfairly targeted by such tactics. It's undeniable. The question is to what extent and in what ways. And to get at that, MVD must collect and regularly release racial and other demographic data on pedestrian and traffic stops, but also risks and searches. As you know, the ACLU has an ongoing public records request with the department to try to get some of this data. And finally, I think the subcommittee, the commission, the community needs to think about how high numbers of stops are impacting community police relations, particularly as they affect ongoing and, in many instances, worthwhile community-oriented policing efforts from the department. So I think that there's things to do. I don't want to overstate the accusatory nature of our survey, but I think it really does suggest areas that need work, and ACLU is hoping that you will get the whole community involved in ways to improve community police relations. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes.
Mr. Amity, thank you very much for collecting the information and presenting it to us today. Are your slides available online anywhere?
Are they up yet, or still shortly?
Okay, I
Right.
appreciate
I
that.
can email them to you, and they'll probably be up tomorrow.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. And I think we're going to call it the research committee.
Oh, the research, not the other.
Rather than the
Right.
O'Hare
Right.
subcommittee.
Right.
Other questions, Commissioners?
Did you do a certain age range?
Well, the range of ages was something like 13 to 85, or something like that. But as I said, the majority of people who responded were under 24. And, you know, there are people in law enforcement who talk about cohorts of age groups and how some are more inclined to crime and all the rest. But I think they still have to be, but I think that's a generalization, a stereotype, and in some respects offensive to people who are trying to do well even though they're young people. One thing that's not in the slide, if you look at overall satisfaction, younger people, the 13 to 18 group, are actually more satisfied or less dissatisfied, however you want to put it, with their contacts with police. And that in part is only because they've had fewer contacts, but it seems to me that that's an opportunity. That's good news, that there's still a chance to work with these young people. And, you know, so if the department is trying to, you know, figure out where best to put its community-oriented policing effort, you know, even if perhaps there's some tension between young people and police officers, working with these young people is a fruitful area to consider. And I'm suggesting that more than the STOP program that I'm sure you've heard about needs to be done. I think there are lots of community partners, lots of national experts for that matter, that can help the department work with young people who are not yet dissatisfied with their relationship with the police and not yet had perhaps all that many contacts with the police. So that's the good news. It's one of the items of good news that comes out of the survey.
Other questions, commissioners?
I'll actually contact you because I have three or four who are out of this age. So I'll go with them.
All righty.
Thank you, Mr. Amity. All right, the next item is a correspondence from Chief Mark Rolfing, and this is concerning probationary fire.
I think
Excuse me,
ACLU, done talking, and we don't have nothing else to talk about, we need to talk about the complaint from the city.
Sir, you
Like,
may
we've been
speak.
here 6 months.
Sir, you may
But
speak during the
we have
public
been coming here
comment.
6 months to talk about
Sir,
what?
You may
To
speak.
just have comment for 2 minutes, and you guys have not addressed our comments at all.
You may
Have you
speak
addressed
during
any
the,
comments in
sir,
6
you
months?
are out of order.
Do the people feel like they addressed any of their comments within 6 months?
No! Do not feel like you have answered any of our questions,
Sir,
any of our demands. You have not respected the people. We're tired of talking
Sir.
about police and fire
Sir.
department business.
Sir.
We need to talk about people
you may
business.
speak during the public
We are
comment
speaking
period.
now.
Then
We want the date set now.
Set the date.
Set the date now.
Set the date.
Set the date now. Set the date now.
Set the date now.
Set the date now.
I will
Set the date now.
I will adjourn.
Set the date now. Set the date now. Set the date now.
We'll keep
Set the date now.
every meeting.
Set the date now.
Every meeting we'll
Set the date now. Set the date now. Set the date now. Set the date now. Set the date now.
You
Set the date now. Set the date now.
You
Set the date now.
We
Set the date now.
You will
Set
stop
the date
talking
now.
and you will quiet down or the meeting will be adjourned.
Set the date now. 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 Set the date now.
Do I have a
Set the date now. Because you are the date now. Set the date now.
There is no.
Set the date now.
There is no.
Set the date now.
Conducted
Set
this
the
meeting
date now.
under the open.
Set the date
under the
now.
open meetings law,
Set the date
except
now.
items on the agenda.
Put us on the agenda. Doesn't get done.
Set the date now.
You will
Set the date now.
opportunity.
Set the date now. Set the date
You
now.
are not.
Set the date now. Set the date now. Set the date now.
You
Shut it down. If we don't want the community
No,
to
you
be
don't.
allowed.
It wasn't
What is so hard about setting a date now? You want to?
We're here, everybody's here, why can't you discuss it right here, right now?
You
What's
won't
the
put it
problem
on
with
the
that? Why
agenda.
you gotta keep postponing it for months upon months upon months?
Move to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
Adjourn the meeting. Set the date.
Set the date.
Set the
Second.
date. There's no reason for you
Second,
all
any
to come
further
together
discussion?
again.
Is the meeting up?
Hearing none, all
Next
in
meeting, we
favor?
don't show
Shame!
Opposed?
Shame!
Shame! Shame! Shame! Shame! Shame! New normal! This is new normal!
Shame!
This is new normal!
Murder is murder!
Save that statement.
Sure we'll be needing these again.
How's Chicago going? Just another case of
Y'all want y'all need to get sorted out.
That's fine, I got so much other stuff.
Shame on you! I need an escort. Murder is murder!